Hello, another very good evening from me. Thanks for coming along to join me on my excellent Wastecast. This episode I'm just deciding what to talk about. I think what I'll do is tell you a little bit about one of my business ideas. I had a folder called Shit Business Ideas. They had lots of business ideas in there. Some of them are actually obviously incredibly good, but mostly I refer to them as being shit business ideas. This one I'm never going to get round to doing, I don't expect, because there's too many factors in the way stopping me from doing it. Although they say you should never share your business ideas, I'll share this one with you and you can steal it if you like, which is good. So this isn't going to be a good business pitch. It's just going to be me explaining to you how to make some money selling a product which I've designed. But it's quite a unique product. It's called hemp pesto. You've probably tried pesto. It's green and tastes like basil and contains pine nuts in. If you grow hemp, there's these seeds which grow on it, which have a kind of white fleshy interior. If you take the shell off the hemp seed, if you get shelled hemp seeds, they're actually quite similar to pine nuts. They're also quite nutritious. They contain all 20 amino acids that you need to sustain life and huge amounts of protein, more than a steak, about 20% protein. So they're a great source of food. I used to work at a factory where we used to produce pesto among many other products, various different soups and pasta sauces and sort of puddings, a bit like ambrosia rice pudding, but much nicer with much better quality ingredients, cinnamon and cream, what have you. And that's where you can get this product made. So all you need to do is contact Tyderford Foods and get them to make you up a batch of pesto. They'll put it into the jars or whatever packaging you want. In fact, I've got packaging for it, and they'll put it all together for you. So it's really, really easy. All you have to do is tell them to tweak the recipe a little bit. Now Tyderford produce foods for loads of different people. They produce foods for, I won't quote all the different companies because they'll probably have me up on some kind of like trade descriptions confidentiality law, but you can use any soup factory. Anywhere that produces pesto will probably produce you a batch of pesto to your own recipe. But in a nutshell, it's hemp pesto, so you have all one word, hemp pesto, okay? So H-E-M-P and P-E-S-T-O kind of go quite well together for branding. And what you do is you put a cannabis leaf on the front of it. The genius bit where it comes in is that you can have 4 different flavours of this stuff, and they all correlate with strains of ganja that people smoke. So you can capitalise on having a little ganja leaf on the front of it. So the first flavour would just be original flavour, and that would just be using ordinary basil and, instead of pine nut kernels, hemp seeds. And what you can do is you can get them to produce that, and that will make a fantastic alternative that restaurants will buy in, that people will buy in as an alternative in health food shops, and that everybody will love to try. It doesn't have to contain hemp leaves, although you could try that, but they taste pretty gross. They are very nutritious. People put them in salads, but it's a bit of a legal quandary. I would just stick to hemp seeds with the recipe for the original one. So the clever bit is, if you've ever tried something called lemon basil, you can source in the UK something called lemon basil, and what you do is you make a recipe where you just put lemon basil into the sauce, and that one you call lemon haze. If there's any people who smoke pot out there, you're probably familiar with the strain lemon haze. It smells very strongly of citrus terpenes, just like lemon. It's got the same terpenes as lemons. Those are oils, essential oils, and it smells like lemon. So you can make a brand called lemon haze. There's also a type of basil called purple basil, which you can use to add a purple colour and a different flavour to the dish. Purple basil has a slightly different aroma to it, and you might probably if you're a bit older, for some of the older viewers, remember there was something called purple haze, which used to be something which people produced and sold in the cannabis market a long time ago. There is still lots of cannabis on the market in places like British Columbia and Amsterdam where it's legal, and you'd call that strain purple haze of your pesto. Then of course there is Thai basil. You can get Thai basil, which has got a very distinctive pointed leaves, unlike ordinary basil. So it has a very poignant flavour, a slightly different flavour to it, and you can call that one Thai stick, which is a type of cannabis which historically used to come sort of bound with bits of thread on and sort of pressed, compacted, and it was very cheap and it was smuggled. It was very affordable cannabis that people used to smoke. So you've got 4 types of this hemp pesto with cannabis leaves on the front. You've got original, you've got lemon haze, you've got purple haze, and you've got Thai stick. So you've got 4 different types that all have a ganja leaf on it. I found the point of sale units you can put into, I've researched these, so what you can do, you can get these things that look a bit like test tubes, and you can put these test tubes, you can put the product into a test tube and just have it kind of, have it there in the test tube, in these kind of racks that, that mount up, where you can put the test tubes in and lift them out. And people can use those. If it's got a sticker with a ganja leaf on it, you could use those for storing spliffs in afterwards, which is a very novelty idea. But when people see it with the cannabis leaf on there at the point of sale in their kind of Holland and Barrett or in little health food stores, they're going to see it and think these make great stash pots as well. You could just go with ordinary jars that have to be sort of sterilised and go with the normal process. But I think that if you researched it, you could find a test tube, something which would be good for putting a pre-rolled spliff into. That would be the sort of thing which would be very, very marketable in the UK. And I'm sure wouldn't cost more than a few £100s. The way you would market that to start with is you would approach, I would suggest Tied Up Foods or anywhere that produces pesto, get them to alter the recipe, get them to produce you some of your 4 types, maybe one of the 4 types, or I would say probably go for all of them if possible. Wouldn't cost more than a few £100s for a few boxes of each product. Then you just go to food fairs where you can just turn up with a small vehicle, and all you would need to do is get a table, a long table, and a folding kind of sheet to put over the front of it with your branding on it, which costs about £50 or £100 on the internet, and you can sell these products for probably £7.50 a jar. People would probably pay, and you could do a special deal for 4 jars or tubes for £20, or maybe £8 a jar, or something like that. I expect people would probably buy that. That's a shit business idea that I'm never going to get around to making, but is very, very marketable. So if you know anybody that's got more gumption, money, energy, and isn't locked up in a psychiatric ward than me, then you should ask them to try and produce some hemp pesto. You need to find somebody that's not a lazy shit, who's got no money, with a lazy eye. Sorry, this one. It's quite interesting, that one. It was from an accident, an acting accident. Obviously I can't act, as you can see. I mean, I probably could do, I could once, but yeah, I was with a guy called Simon in the kitchen at Sands School, and I jumped around. We were pretending to fight, and I jumped around to react to this fight, and I jumped into a brick wall, and I completely smashed my eye socket, which is why you can see I've got a bit of a scar, and you can see if I'm not careful, my one of my eyes gets a bit droopy, which is very unattractive, really unattractive. Makes me look a bit like a boxer. Worse when I'm drunk, definitely worse when I'm drunk. We're 9:28 minutes, folks. Gonna have to wrap it up. I'll give you some current affairs, just because I've got time to. Let's have a look then. What have we got today? The MPC-1. It knows that I've been looking at production equipment. The Akai MPC-1 hardware standalone music production center. That looks pretty cool, the Akai MPC one. If anyone wants to buy me one of those so that I can make some beats, make some hip hop, that'd be wicked. I'd really like that. As you can tell from my voice, I'd be shit at spitting over hip hop. I made a video the other day with some spoken word that I made, and it was so bad I had to make it private, but I just did it with the mic, with my headphone mic in my room, so the audio wasn't very good. I'm not getting very much. TV fraud gang jailed for illegally streaming Premier League games. You have to pay loads for the pubs to stream the football, don't you? Like it's like they have to pay a premium to like Sky Sports, and it's like 500 quid a month or something like that, so that they can stream sports in their pubs, which is quite fucked up. The passenger opens the emergency exit door during flight. That's pretty scary. I saw that on something else actually. That was pretty fucking worrying shit. I'm surprised you can do that on a plane, like that you can open the door going along. I mean, is there not like, I mean, I guess you have to be able to, don't you? But you just never think, you know, it must have been, people must have been shitting themselves. Huge plume seen coming out of a nearby moon that could support alien life 3 hours ago. If you want to send me to another planet, folks, I'm well up for it. I'm not really fit enough anymore. I've got kind of like this tyre that I never used to have around the front, but I used to be NASA fit. But I'm not anymore. I used to do 2,500 reps every other day. I was very athletic and trim, but over the last year I've become sort of sedentary. The World Health Organization thinks that having a sedentary lifestyle is worse for you than smoking fags, which I've also just done in the last sort of 10 minutes. British regular forces numbers broken down by rank. I don't really know what that means. The UK Defence Journal from one day ago. The British Defence Journal. I bet that's got some interesting articles. I think, right, that people who join the military and a military intelligence service, which I used to want to do years ago, but I don't anymore. My brain's too fucked and I'm far too opinionated. But I think they should have to do some sort of basic aptitude test, like some sort of, you know, there was I saw this thing. Whoa, fuck! I saw this thing where a load of people threw their medals back in to the fountain at Capitol Hill. It was really powerful, actually. I remember reading about it. Just Google it. Like people throw, or, you know, veterans throw their medals back in, throw their medals into the fountain at Capitol Hill. There's loads of reasons why they did it, but I think if you don't know what you're fighting for, if you're going to offer to lay down your life for something, and you don't even know what what you're fighting for, I think that's, for me, I think that's a really, that's really important to factor into any decision. And you'd hope that, you know, kind of, you can't expect everybody to get a PPE degree who joins the army, do you know what I mean? But I do think, so I'm just getting these smudges off these glasses, I do think that that would be a good thing. Moscow droners hack, yeah, of course, this has been all over the TV in the front room. Putin says Ukraine's trying to frighten the Russians. Weaponized drones. In Venezuela, drones are just illegal. You're just not allowed them. Like even the shitty little ones that you can buy on the internet, you're just not allowed drones, apparently. Because they are really fucking dangerous. Like, you know, they you know, I don't know if these are obviously like Predator drones. Remember, what was that? Barack Obama made that joke about his daughter, and they all kicked off about it. You know, Predator drone, you will not see it coming. COVID inquiry deadline extended for government to hand over Boris Johnson's WhatsApp messages. That doesn't sound very good, does it? Oh dearie me. For fuck's sake, have they got nothing better to do? I mean, seriously, like, I mean, like, is there not, like, is there not, like, does private messaging platforms not have some sort of fucking encryption? Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, not like encryption, but like, you know, an end user's license agreement that kind of like makes them private. I mean, where does the law on privacy kind of stand? Like, if you kind of like, can you not, is there no way that we can have internet confidentiality? Like, can we not have something which is, you know, what's the difference between encryption and confidentiality? Is there a legal difference between something which can't be accessed, but we would read it if we could, you know, could we not have just something in the internet which is, you know, like a private messaging platform? Because lots of people want to exchange private messages, and ultimately they're always going to use, you know, 50 trillion terabyte encryption and or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a computer guy, but I mean, not that I think Boris Johnson should be subject to a lack of public scrutiny, shall we say. Artificial intelligence is similar extinction risk as nuclear war and pandemics. Look at that picture. That's a nice picture. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I think about that. I don't know enough about artificial intelligence. We're 15 minutes now though, so I should probably love you and leave you. South Park. Top 10 times Cartman was the best character on South Park. Well, Cartman was a bit like me. I used to be the fattest kid in my school. Fat Brody. I've got bare stretch marks all up here and all on my arms. But by a couple of years ago I was lean and slim. A year ago I was. But anyway, I won't leave you with anything other than Autumn needs to be careful I don't show you outside the window of this fine establishment, because there's people out there. But thanks for watching. Go and make yourself a batch of hemp pesto, 4 different flavours: original pesto, lemon haze, purple haze and Thai stick, and everybody will buy it. You can go to Food First 3 times a week. Eventually you'll make an income of sort of £1,500 to £2,500 a week, and you'll be able to make an organic food product that's good for the earth, good for people. You can employ staff and eventually start your own factory and retire by the age of 40. Connor McLeod, if you're watching, please take that instruction and just get a few £100s together and make yourself a batch of hemp pesto, because anybody could do it. I can't be fucked. I'm not going to. And that's the end of my podcast. Goodbye and good night. God bless and good evening.